Hey everybody, it's Dr. David. I wanted to spend a few minutes talking about cholesterol with you today. This is a conversation that comes up pretty frequently in the office, and I thought it would be valuable to have a video to send out to all of you and to also have for future use when it comes up, because I don't have a lot of time in the office to talk about this, and it's extremely important. Okay, I think a lot of misunderstanding about cholesterol. We think of cholesterol as a bad thing, and it's not. So I thought I'd give you a quick overview of this. Okay, so when we're looking at cholesterol, if you get a blood lab for cholesterol, these are the things that are going to come up on the blood lab. First of all, you have your total cholesterol. You have your HDL cholesterol, which is often called the good cholesterol. You have your LDLs, which are often referred to as the bad cholesterol. And then you have your triglycerides, which are the fatty portion. Now, when we're looking at a blood lab here, it's important to have a good understanding of exactly what these things do in your body so you can understand why the values might be what they are. Okay, so first of all, HDL and LDL are not actually cholesterols. These are this high density lipoprotein. It's actually a protein, and low density lipoprotein. And these proteins are transport mechanisms for cholesterol. So they take cholesterol to and from parts of your body. Now, cholesterol itself is used for a lot of different things in your body. One of the big things that cholesterol is used for is repairing tissue. So if you have an injury, cholesterol is used to repair that. So let's say you have a hole in your wall. So cholesterol is what comes up and patches up that hole in your wall. You need it. It's absolutely necessary. Without it, you would never repair from an injury. Cholesterol is also used to make your sex hormones. So without cholesterol, we don't have testosterone. Without cholesterol, we don't have estrogen, right? These are important things. So, and we could take, honestly, we could take that into a completely different conversation. But it's important to understand that cholesterol is extremely important for your body. You need it to heal. You need it to function properly, to be healthy and to be happy. Okay, so we got to be careful when we're trying to bring that level down too low. So let's have a good understanding of what HDL and LDL cholesterols do. So LDL is called the bad cholesterol because if there's injury in your arteries, LDL, the protein LDL, will take a cholesterol to your arteries, drop it off, patch up the wall, and leave. Okay, so LDLs are oftentimes correlated with the plaquing of your arteries. Well, there's a reason why this is happening. Your arteries are plaquing because there's injury in the artery. So it's not the cholesterol's fault. It has little to do with the amount of cholesterol that you have in your body. In fact, your total level of cholesterol in your body has very little to do with your dietary intake of cholesterol. They're not very well correlated. And there's definitely no scientific connection between the two. And we've known this for a very, very long time. Eating cholesterol does not cause high cholesterol in your body. So when you have injury in your arteries, if you have tearing or inflammation of the arterial wall, your body wants to repair that. So it uses the LDL to take cholesterol to the area of injury, patch up the wall, trying to heal it so that it continues working, ultimately so you don't die, and then it leaves. Now we see that transport mechanism and we blame the LDL cholesterol or the high levels of cholesterol or the high levels of LDL as the problem. So we take a statin medication to decrease the amount of LDL in our body. So if you decrease the amount of LDL in your body, all you're doing is getting rid of the transport mechanism for the cholesterol. Cholesterol is still in your body, and now we have an artery that's not getting repaired, which is a problem. That will lead to problems. So we need to look at the underlying cause of why is that artery injured? Why is it inflamed to begin with? And what we're going to find is when we see high LDLs, high cholesterol, and high triglycerides, the reason they're high is because we have high carbohydrate intake. We're eating bad carbohydrates, sugars, grains, alcohol. These are the things that cause these increased levels of low density lipoprotein, the so-called bad cholesterol. These increase inflammation in the body. So when we talk about systemic inflammation in the body, that includes your arterial walls. So if we have a tube that's transporting blood through it, and now the walls of that tube are swollen, they're inflamed, the tube gets narrower. Now, if we have Let's take a garden hose, for example. If you have a garden hose trying to pump water through it, and we decrease the diameter of that garden hose, what happens to the pressure of the water? The pressure of the water skyrockets, right? It's just like if you put your thumb over a garden hose, it becomes a really hard stream coming out. It's the same thing with your arteries. If you have inflamed arteries, the diameter gets smaller, and now you have increased blood pressure. And when you have increased blood pressure and blood flowing through at a high rate of speed, hitting the ends, the walls of that artery, it damages it, just like erosion, just like river erosion on a dirt wall or on a rock wall, it erodes it. So now we have high sugar intake, high carbohydrate intake, causing arterial damage. Now we have an artery that's damaged and needs repaired. LDL, your body cranks up the production of LDLs because it has an artery that it needs to repair. It puts down cholesterol to repair that. And that's what your body's trying to do, is trying to counteract the effects of a poor diet. Now, what we look at is these high numbers that don't fit the medical range, and we say, oh, the LDLs are high, well, let's take a medication to decrease LDLs. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't fix the problem. And I hope you can see that. So we start decreasing the LDL cholesterols, but we still have a poor dietary problem. We have arteries that are not getting repaired. And now we don't have enough cholesterol in the body to repair other stuff that's happening, and the body starts to erode. And I see this with people in the practice when they're taking statins, is that they don't heal as quickly as other people. It's extremely important to understand that. Okay? Now, the other thing here is, typically we're looking at LDLs and we put all the blame on an LDL. Well, high LDL is poorly correlated with heart disease or cardiovascular disease. Let me tell you what is correlated with heart disease. High triglycerides and low HDLs. So if your HDLs are low, if they're too low, and you have high triglycerides, that is a red flag warning signal marker of cardiovascular disease. Didn't even take into account the LDLs. Now, if you have high LDLs on top of that, then we really do have a serious cardiovascular issue. But the LDLs come last. It's the HDLs and the triglycerides. Now, if you have low HDLs and high triglycerides, this is all about high carbohydrate intake, poor diet. It's also about liver and gallbladder dysfunction. Okay, and liver dysfunction oftentimes is due to high carbohydrate intake. So we're not processing fats properly in our diet. We're not digesting them well. We're not processing those with our gallbladder. Our gallbladder is supposed to digest fats. So, I could go on for quite a while about this, but I just want to give you a really good overview of what's happening here, is that the fix for this is not to decrease the LDLs. That's not going to fix anything. It's going to cause problems for you. And if you look up the side effects of a statin medication, you're going to see in there muscle pain, muscle atrophy, which is wasting away of the muscle tissue, among many, many other things. And people that take statins long enough know this because they experience this. It's very, very common. And by the way, I'm not telling you to stop taking your statin medication. What I'm telling you is to question it, okay? And have that conversation with your medical doctor because it's important. What you really need to be looking at is diet. We need to get the right carbohydrates in. We need to cut out the bad sugars, the bad grains, and all the bad carbohydrates that are causing the problem for you. And if you do that, you're going to see a change. It's going to show up on your blood labs. All right? So I hope that's helpful to you. It's very, very important because I do see it often in the practice. And I want to make sure that you guys are doing as absolute best as you can with your care here. All right? So I hope that's helpful. Listen up. If just a quick request from you guys, if you come to the practice, if you had a good experience in the practice, I'm going to ask that you leave us a Google review at Ritchie Chiropractic and Integrative Medicine. That really does help this practice stay relevant. It helps us see more people and help more people. So please, if you've had a good experience, please drop by our Google site, leave a 5-star Google review for us. It'll be very helpful, and I thank you for that in advance. Have a great day. I'll see you guys soon. Take care.